Bunch of machines here. It's been a while since I've done an update, and what you're looking at here is a clutch disc for a 2005 Nissan 350Z and the associated pressure plate. It looks like it's a fairly decent quality part. Vallejo, and this is supposed to be a performance clutch pack. This is an RB26 flywheel, 13 pound. Just got this from Godzilla Racing, the guys down in Texas, who also make an adapter to basically mate this flywheel, because it's a millimeter larger than the end of the L series crankshaft, and the method of resolution is this shim that basically slides over the end of the crankshaft, which I'm not going to put on there quite yet because the seal's not in, but that gets basically me set up for this is a 71C series tail shaft housing, and then I've got a 71B front housing, and that hole right there gets bumped up to 62 millimeters, and then that hole goes up to 16 and a smidge millimeters, and then this surface area around here needs to be reduced to clearance the countershaft sprocket, or the countershaft gear assembly. Cool thing about doing this modification is it gets me into this style of shifter, and it's the same shifter as the 240Z setup, and so there's thousands and millions of them out there, and upgrades for just the general shifter feel. One of the things that ends up happening is this tail shaft assembly is about 2 inches longer than that one, and as a result I'm going to need to have a custom drive shaft made, which is fine. And then I think I'm also going to have to alter my exhaust mount, because this is back farther as well, and the rear transmission mount cross member needs to change. Next thing is, these are a crank scraper setup. So this goes on to the main caps, and it's just clearanced enough to clear the crank stroke and the rods, and then this goes against the pan rail, and this helps control and contain the oil as well. In addition to all that, this is an original Nissan Nismo comp pan. It's had some time on it, and it's had some loving on it to make it clear a header, I'm sure. But I need to punch a hole through the side for the drain for the turbo, so I still need to do that. Along with this, actually I was after this, and this came along with it effectively. This is also a Nismo comp external oil feed, so it replaces the plate, the stock plate. This is the suction side. It's a -12, and the pressure side's a -11 or -10, excuse me. I don't know at this point in time whether or not I'm actually going to put this on this engine. I am contemplating not doing it, just because I need to get this thing back together, and back in the hole. It's it's overkill for what I'm doing with this engine, because this pan has some oil control improvements in it, which I can't show you right now because it's bolted down. But there's windage tray and an additional covering plate inside and a box with dampers in it to control the oil. And I've done not a huge amount of work, but some improvements in some oil flow, where I've bored this is the pressure feed from the pump, so I gun drilled that, and I did a bunch of cleaning up in here to improve flow, and so it's just, and disregard the micro guard. It's just there to fill a hole and keep the shit from falling in. But gosh, what else? There's a bunch going on lately. Got my rebuild kit for the 71C, and I also have a rebuild kit for the 71B. So my intention is I'm gonna rebuild the 71B and put that up for sale. So if anybody wants it, ping me. And I've got another housing like that showing up at some point in time that I'm going to modify, so that those two guys are going to go back together. What else? Oh, I tore apart. So this VG30D or VG30E engine came out of an 85 300ZX. There's the front struts, there's the rear control arms and the rear brake assemblies. That's the front bell housing assembly, which apparently those people want those, so if you want that, let me know. That's the rear differential and the CV joints and stuff out of the back. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with that, so that might go up for sale. That car got reduced to pretty much just those parts and the transmission. The transmission and that's the 71C. That's the B. That's what I was after in that car. So this engine's for sale. It turns over. I don't know anything other than that it's just, other than it's not stuck. These came off of a 280ZX Turbo hood, and I got some plans for these guys, so stay tuned for that craziness. Gosh, that's about it in a nutshell. Engine is pretty close to being happy to go. I gotta basically do all the modifications to this, get it to the powder coater, get it blasted, get it coated, finish up some of the piping. The intake manifold is one of the last major pieces that needs to be fabricated, and this is going to go back in the hole. I need to basically put the engine and the transmission back in, size some things up. I got to figure out what I'm going to do as far as the cross member and the driveline, get that measured, and I've got a bunch of piping and stuff coming off of this side, and the engine's the right side up. This is the driver's side. The intention is that the compressor housing is going to come out and come right down the frame rail. So I got to figure that out. There's basically once the radiator is right here, there's that piece between the inner fender and the radiator itself. So all that stuff's got to come through it. So I got to do all the sheet metal work there. But yeah, that's about the extent of the update. Pretty excited about this whole deal because this wasn't really planning on spending the money, but it was a good deal. shipped, it was adapter and the flywheel for $200. And then this kit was under $100. But the beauty news is this straps on. It will fit. Once I get the pins lined up, they do line up. Trust me. Trust me, they line up. At least they lined up earlier. Maybe got to be indexed. Okay, well, call me. Maybe that was a... Nope, it does line up. See, there, and obviously that's not lined up, but once this is clamped down, then these need to be basically straight across, which they should be. And I get myself a 250 millimeter clutch pack and flywheel, 13-pound flywheel, where the stalker is like 23 or 25 pounds, somewhere thereabouts, and a clutch that hopefully will put up with what that bad boy is going to put out, which is probably going to be, you know, maybe 350 horse or so at the crank, maybe a little more, easily. Depends on how much boost I throw at it. So, anyway, yeah, enjoy. Talk to you guys later.